Motion in One Dimension, Chapter 2. Movement is a central part of the universe in which we live, whether at the scale of atoms, about 10 raised to power minus 10 meters, or at the scale of our planet's distance from the sun, about 10 raised to power minus 11 meters. We live in a world that is constantly changing and moving. The movements of animals, of the vehicles, the rivers are easily observed. To understand motion is to understand one of the most fundamental aspects of ourselves and our world. So let's start our journey to understand. Mechanics. The branch of physics which deals with the motion of objects in everyday life is called mechanics or classical mechanics. It is of two types, statics and dynamics. Statics. Statics deals with bodies at rest under the effect of different forces. Dynamics. Dynamics deals with the bodies in motion. It is further of two types, kinematics and dynamics proper. Kinematics, which is derived from a Greek word kinema, meaning motion, is a branch of physics which deals with the motion of a body without taking into account the cause of motion. Dynamics proper, which is derived from the Greek word dyna, meaning power, is a branch of physics which deals with the motion of the bodies by taking into account the cause of motion. Point object, rest and motion. Point object. A point object is one which has no linear dimensions but possesses mass. In practice, this is not possible. In physics, an object is termed as a point object if the distance it travels is very large as compared to its dimensions. Example, Earth is treated as a point object during its revolution around the Sun. An object is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to its surroundings with the passage of time. Motion. An object is said to be in motion if it changes its position with respect to the surroundings with the passage of time. Rest and motion are relative terms. There is nothing like absolute rest. This means that an object can be at rest and also in motion at the same time. Is defined as the actual path followed by a body between the points between which it moves. Suppose a body travels from point A to point B, then the actual path travelled by the body is its distance travelled. Distance is a scalar quantity. The direction of motion is not important in this case. Distance travelled by a body never decreases with time. Displacement, on the other hand, is defined as the shortest distance between 2 points. This is shown as an arrow from A to B. Displacement may decrease with time. Displacement is a vector quantity. The direction of motion is important in speed and velocity. Speed is defined as the ratio of the distance travelled by a body to the time taken to do so, or it is defined as the distance travelled in unit time. Mathematically, it is given by the expression speed equals distance over time. It is measured in SI in meter per second. Velocity determines the direction of motion of an object. Speed is of the following types: uniform speed, If a body covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, then its speed is said to be uniform. Example, suppose a scooter travels 10 meters in every 5 seconds. Then the speed of the scooter is said to be uniform and is given by 2 meters per second and is given by speed equals 10 over 5 equals 2 meters per second. Variable or non-uniform speed. If a body covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time or equal distances in unequal intervals of time, then its speed is said to be non-uniform. Types of velocity: uniform velocity, variable velocity. Uniform velocity. A body is said to possess uniform velocity if it undergoes equal displacements in equal intervals of time, however small these intervals may be. In such a situation, the distance traversed by the body increases with time. Variable velocity. If a body moves in such a way that its speed or its direction of motion or both change with time, then the body is said to possess a variable velocity. Acceleration and retardation. In daily life, motion is never uniform. It is always an accelerated motion. Acceleration is defined as the rate of change of velocity. Mathematically, we have A equals v minus u over t. Types of acceleration. Accelerated motion is of two types: uniformly accelerated and non-uniformly accelerated. Uniform acceleration. A body is said to possess uniform acceleration if there are equal changes in its velocity in equal intervals of time, however small these intervals may be. Variable acceleration. A body is said to possess non-uniform or variable acceleration if there are unequal changes in its velocity in equal intervals of time or equal changes in its velocity in unequal intervals of time, however small these intervals may be. Velocity time graph. Case 1 for uniform velocity. In uniform motion, the velocity of the body remains constant with respect to time. Thus, the velocity time graph is a straight line parallel to its time axis as shown. The distance travelled by the body can be calculated from the velocity time graph as follows. Consider 2 points A and B on the graph corresponding to times t0 and t respectively. Let v be the uniform velocity of the body. Now, area of the rectangle ABCD is given by area of ABCD equals AC into AB equals v into t minus t0 equals x minus x0. Since x minus x0 is the distance travelled by the body, therefore, area under v minus t graph equals distance travelled by the body. If the body has negative velocity, then the graph is drawn under the time axis. In such a situation, the displacement is taken as negative. Case 2 for uniform acceleration and retardation. The velocity-time relation of a body having uniformly accelerated motion is given by the expression v equals u plus at. Let the initial velocity of the acceleration of the body be u equals 1 meter per second and 1 meter per second square respectively. Then the velocity of the body at different times can be obtained as This shows that velocity increases linearly with time. Thus, the velocity time graph of a body in uniformly accelerated motion is a straight line inclined to the time axis if the body has uniform acceleration, and is inclined towards the velocity axis if the body has uniform retardation as shown. Acceleration time graph. Case 1. For a stationary body. In this case, the acceleration of the body is 0. It is so when the body moves with uniform velocity or is at rest. The acceleration time graph for such a situation is a straight line coinciding with the time axis as shown. Case 2. For a uniformly accelerated retarded motion. For a uniformly accelerated body, the acceleration is a constant and does not change with time. In this situation, the acceleration time graph is a straight line parallel to the time axis. This graph lies above the time axis. If the velocity of the body decreases uniformly with time, then the acceleration time graph is again a straight line parallel to the time axis but lies below the time axis. This indicates retardation.